Want to do some training? Hey everybody, it's Rob from Flailthroughs. This is Gundam Battle Operation 2, and this is my attempt at doing a beginner's guide to the game. The best way I came up with to do that was to go through the tutorials and play through them myself, and hopefully, be able to add some, salient commentary on what I'm doing and why. First thing to mention is that my controls are different from the default controls. I have moved boost to L1, I have moved jump to X, and I have moved fire to R1 and switch to R2. All that's based on my time playing Battle Operation 1 and things that just make it more comfortable for me. I do recommend the L1 switch though, because having a boost on L1 allows you to move the camera while you're boosting. Very important. Doing the jumping training here. Jumping consumes your boost gauge, and your boost gauge is very important because it makes up most of your defensive options. You can't use the tackle, which can counter melee attacks. You can't use a dodge roll if you have one. And, most of all, you cannot get out of the way of an attack very quickly if you don't have boost. So a lot of your defense comes from your boost, so just be prepared to conserve it in important situations. Holding down the X button longer will get you a larger jump. If you hold it long enough, you will jump. Your mobile suit will jump on its own. So the other thing to consider with jumping, and the tutorial is about to get to this, is that you can end your own jump sooner by pressing the crouch button, which for me is L2. That's an important thing to be able to do, because you go back a week or two, you can see a video I did of the Gundam Alex and Dual Gundam colors, where I was able to basically ambush someone by ending my jump early before they were thought they were going to be able to knock me out of the sky, and tackle into them and get the kill. So yeah, being able to control when you land is a very important thing for being able to avoid attacks. Again, a lot of this all just comes down to managing boost to avoid attacks. That is a big part of the game. But so that is the first tutorial down, and pardon me if I'm a little rambly. I did a voiceover for this live, but the Elgato game capture I'm using is kind of old. It's USB 2.0, and was not quite able to keep up with my chatter. So the game footage is fine, but the voiceover just apparently is lost to time. So since that's the case, I decided I'd try and voice over it again and hopefully, get something useful out of it. But okay, this one is a tutorial on standing and crouching and using the scoped mode, the zoom in. And crouching gives you a 5% attack bonus to all of your ranged attacks. So if the idea behind this tutorial is you can kill each of those in one hit before they reach you if you fire while you're crouching. They have just enough health that if you try and do it another way, they will live through it and probably smash you. Also, there's a pretty tight timer. So yeah, crouching. You'll also notice that crouching brings your shield in front of you. That is an important thing. Shields in Battle Operation 2 are entirely positional. If an attack hits the shield, it hits the shield. The only way to manipulate the position of the shield is to manipulate the movement of your mobile suit. Here I've hit crouch twice to go prone, which gives you a 10% attack bonus, and also gives you a defense bonus at the same time. Regular crouching does that too. But yeah, the going prone does give you even more attack. It makes you even less mobile because it takes you a second to get up. You can launch a counter tackle out of crouching mode, so that's something to be aware of. You can also stand up into a melee attack out of crouching mode, as I recall. Now, here I have gone, the point of this part of the tutorial is to show you the zoomed mode, which I forgot to change to my shoulder cannon, which you cannot change weapons while prone, so you have to go back up into a crouch to do that. But, yeah, there's that. Going prone, as I said, gives you a 10% bonus. Scoping in gives you an extra 5% bonus from whatever position you're in. So, 5% total damage bonus when standing, 10% when crouched, 15% when prone. Yeah, shooting in sniper mode while lying down boosts your damage by 1.15 times, which again is just a weird way of saying a 15% attack bonus. But yeah, somebody asked me recently why I don't tend to zoom in when I'm scoped in. And the answer is that I don't even like to scope in when I can help it, even though I like the bonus damage, because it cuts off your peripheral vision and your radar. There's only one mobile suit in the game currently that has a skill that lets it use radar while scoped in, and that is the GPO-1FB. Everything else, you lose your radar, so it is very easy for mobile suits to sneak up on you. Zooming in cuts your peripheral vision down even further, so it makes it really, really difficult to do well, to keep yourself alive. Okay, now we're going to talk about some of the various conditions that you get from being hit with attacks. And this is kind of important stuff. This is one of the major things to know about the game. So, the first effect is flinch. Basically, it doesn't do a lot, but if you try and launch an attack or, say, loose a beam rifle charge, the second you are hit with a flinching attack, it won't work. So, good use of a beam spray gun or another flinching weapon can actually stop an enemy from hitting you with a beam rifle or other attacks like that. The second phase of damage is stagger, which is what happened when I hit that Zaku repeatedly with my beam spray gun. We're going to go over stagger at this point too. One thing that this tutorial does not cover is there is a more serious stagger is mentioned here. Some weapons can cause serious stagger with a longer immobilization period. Heavy stagger basically drops you to one knee and keeps you in place for a much longer time. It's much easier to follow up on the attacks that are that cause heavy stagger. The Jim Striker's beam scythe, for one, causes heavy stagger, so it can follow up with its beam saber. But standard stagger looks like that, and it will keep you in place for a second and let enemies follow up on their attacks against you. You'll notice that I am having to hold on a second before I got to the second stagger of the two I needed to complete this. Beam weapons are almost all run on heat. And if you see that blue gauge that was over on the right, when it goes yellow, the next shot will overheat your weapon, and you have to give it time. It's basically similar to a reload. But yeah, so be careful managing heat on your beam weapons. Okay, so here is the next condition, which is topple. The most common toppling attack, though there are others, is the attack you use by pulling back and hitting melee. Every melee attack has a knockdown move, but only the most... Okay, there was a jump in the video there, which is a shame because there was a really good bit there where I was talking about basic combos. But yeah, every melee's down attack, and only the down attack, will cause heavy stagger, or will cause topple. Excuse me. But yeah, what I was demonstrating there was one of the more basic combos you can do in this game, which is to use your downswing to topple someone, switch to your beam gun, shoot them in the feet once, maybe twice if you're fast, and then switch back to your beam saber and use a forward swing, and you can get a lot of damage in before their invulnerability starts up. Everyone gets invulnerability when they come up from a knockdown, and until they fire or charge a weapon, or until about, I want to say 5-6 seconds have passed, you cannot hurt them. So you have to... If you're good at timing that, you can get some good attacks in just as that invulnerability ends. If you're not good at timing that, you will attack too early and leave a super wide opening for them to go through and hurt you. Okay, so the next thing we're going to look at is Mobile Suit Tackle and Counter. And in case I haven't said it, I definitely recommend everyone do these tutorials themselves. You get a few mobile suits out of it. You get tokens, recycle tickets, DP, which is the in-game currency for buying mobile suits and weapons in the store. But yeah, tackle, every mobile suit has tackle. On the default setup and on my controls, tackle is triangle. And tackle will cause stagger. And it will also overheat your boosters. You cannot, so be careful when you use it, because you cannot boost again after you tackle under basically any circumstances. Well, with one exception, and that's if you use the special feature of tackle, which it's about to go over for you. Melee attacks can be really difficult to deal with close up. And so if you use a tackle attack on them, you will intercept them and cause a counterattack, like that. And the timing can be difficult, and sometimes just because of latency it doesn't work out as well as you'd like. But if you successfully counter-tackle, your boost gauge will be fully replenished. I didn't quite hit triangle fast enough there, so I am on my back. And let's try this again. There, that is a counter tackle, and you'll notice I have full boost. Again, managing boost is just a major part of this thing. So, yeah, basically don't tackle or counter unless you're 100% sure it will work. And there was another place where the video just jumped and went fast, and yeah, this is kind of going to be a mess, but I kind of knew that coming in because I knew there were problems. But I kind of wanted to salvage this because this was a whole night's work. So yeah, got the counter tackle training done, and there's some other things to learn here in the basic training that are going to be pretty useful. Hopefully, there's things I want to mention, but I'm pretty sure they come up in the training itself, and I'm trying not to, trying not to state the obvious too much. But yeah. Okay, so that training is over. It's time for the next one. This video covers all the basic training missions. Depending on the condition of the intermediate and advanced training mission video I did, I may or may not actually post them. But I will try and follow up on this in another way if I don't. Okay, so next up is swap weapons while checking the weapon panel and using the shortcut panel for instant swap. And that combo that glitched out and I was not able to show earlier, a big part of that was using quick swap, the combo I was talking about before. Holding, in my case, R2 on default controls R1 to bring up the quick swap panel allows you to get to your shortcut weapons. You can set your own shortcuts on mobile suits that have more than 4 weapons. And I recommend, figuring out what you're most comfortable with, because having the right weapons on quick swap is a big part of making good combos possible for you. But yeah, so for the combo I was talking about before, you'd first hold your swap button and hit triangle to go to melee. That's default for any mobile suit. Use the down swing, boost back, hold swap and hit square for your main weapon, which again it's pretty standard, and get a couple of shots in, and then change back to your melee weapon and use a forward swing, and that is again a basic combo that most mobile suits can do. It's something that fast firing main weapons like beam rifles do best. If you have something that's slow to ready up like a bazooka, that's going to be a little bit harder. Sometimes you just have to go right into a melee swing or two after you're knocked down because nothing else is going to work. Okay, so this is space, and you can set the space controls separately. Again, I have them set up to match my ground controls, which is not ideal. But again, my calcified old brain will not memorize more than one set of controls for this, will not remember to do things differently in space, so I just set it up to go, have a little pity on myself here. So yeah, on On the default controls, L1 is ascend, L2 is descend, and there is, as you can see, a little altimeter over on the right to show you basically, how far away from center you are. I'm for whatever they are, meters, I'm not sure, from center, above it. It is, of course, does go into negatives. No, it doesn't. I'm giving incorrect information. I'm at 4, and the bottom of the map is 0. I'm not sure what I was thinking of there. Apologies, but yeah, you can see it now. Yeah, if I went all the way down, I would be at 0, and the top of the map is, I think, 8. Yeah, so, yes, don't listen to Rob from 30 seconds ago. This Rob is correct. But yeah, right now it's teaching you to do boosting ascent and descent, which that's a good way to get out of the way of an attack quickly. There is a special skill which none of the tutorials cover, and another jump there, called forced injectors. And what those do, both on the ground and in space, is they allow you to change your direction of boost without stopping. It costs some boost meter, so that makes it more likely to overheat your boost gauge, especially on the ground. But the ability to zigzag and change direction at the last second is one of the better evasive skills available to you. Yeah, space compatibility gives mobile suits increased thrusters in space, and slightly better just movement in general. Compatibility is a separate thing from whether or not a mobile suit can be used in that environment. There are things that can be used in both environments that have compatibility for ground or space, and then there's some that don't have any compatibility at all, this Zaku 2 being one of them. I'm pretty sure the Jim and the Zaku 2 are both set up for no special compatibility. In my case, the hitting L1 and L2 together on the default controls will cause you to break. On my controls, it's X and L2, but either way, ascend and descend together will cause you to come to a full stop. One of the most useful applications of that is to boost over to one of those waypoints, like you saw over there marked A, and then stop yourself, which allows you to get out of your mobile suit quicker and go capture the waypoint, and it gets you in and out of your mobile suit faster and back to the fight. So, space is very different from ground. It has very different feeling controls. In space, you will ascend or descend if you tilt your camera up or down far enough and move forward. So, yeah, space is its own thing. It feels different. It's a little bit more difficult to do. It's not mandatory. If you don't like space, you really don't have to play it. And this tutorial is about waypoints, and waypoints are one of the more important things in the game, especially in basic mode. And this is gonna go over why. Waypoints allow you to do a lot of things. For one thing, first and foremost, waypoints are where you spawn from after you're destroyed. So, if you want to respawn a mobile suit, you can do that. Oh, it still had it in Japanese in the little video thing. Cute. But if you need your mobile suit to spawn, you can walk up to one and hit circle, and you will get a mobile suit. You can also do a couple other things, which I believe it's about to cover. In basic mode, you can order support fire, which on the ground is an airstrike. In space is a mega particle cannon barrage. Yeah, if you see the Zakus there playing Ring Around the Rosie, we're about to blow them all up. You walk up to any of those that has an exclamation point. There will be a timer counting down until the support fire is ready. It takes you to this after you hold circle for a few seconds. You select your target with X, and then when that 10-second timer counts down, it will drop a bomb on them. Actually, it'll drop a bunch of them. And yeah. And there is what support fire can do. It's difficult to aim well, and the enemy gets a warning about 5 seconds before it hits. So just be aware, it's not always going to work as well as you'd like, but it's a good feeling when you hit 2 or 3 people at once with that. That's fun. But yeah, I'd say it's harder to hit in space because it's a linear attack, but I don't think it hits like the full vertical range of the map, so if people are too high or too low, they will avoid it. And here is one of the last things you can do as a pilot. You can plant a bomb in the enemy base. So here's some things about that. There's less than 2 minutes left on the timer, you get a 20% bonus to the number of points it'll get you, which is that flashing number underneath the score indicators. It takes 10 seconds to plant the bomb, which it just glitched out, so you didn't get to see the bomb getting started, but it takes 10 seconds to plant the bomb and 10 seconds to defuse the bomb. So your best bet, if you've planted the bomb, is to hide around here, wait for the enemy to try and defuse, and try to kill them. Because if they get an unobstructed approach to the bomb with more than 10 seconds left, it's not going to go off. And if you've planted the bomb, you kind of need it to go off, because you get 50 points for planting, but 150 points for defusing. So you're actually worse off than when you started if you do not get that bomb to go off. The bomb takes a total of 60 seconds to explode, so if there's less than a minute and 10 seconds left on the map when you get up to the bombing point, there is no point in using the bomb. So just keep that in mind if you're plotting the demise of your enemy's base. Why would you want to blow up the base? Well, besides points, there is the fact that the base, if enemies crouch by the base, they can get repaired. And it's faster than you can repair yourself with your pilot tool alone, especially if you get out and do repairing separately. But yeah, so here are some pilot controls, and it's going to start with the basic thing, which is the combat knife. It's the easiest way to kill a pilot, but also the most dangerous, because you have to get right up on them, and the range of the knife has a certain... Yeah, it has a little bit of a sideways range, so if you're good at spacing it, you can catch people at weird angles like that, but they can catch you too. So yeah, be careful. It's difficult to do. The best pilot weapon for killing an enemy pilot is the bazooka, but it's really best used when the enemy is on the ground or near a wall. And that's just basic advice too for pilots. If you're trying to escape, don't be on the ground or near a wall, because you will be much easier to kill. As a pilot, you can ascend or descend space style to boost around, and I think it just cut some more of it. But yeah, boosting extra, getting some extra speed going up and down does get you to where you're going faster, and you can boost forward as well. But boosting will put you on the enemy radar. Some mobile suits have special personnel radar that will let them pick you up no matter what. But yes, boosting will make you visible on the enemy radar, so if you're trying a surprise attack, you might need to walk. So that's just something to keep in mind. The other pilot weapons are an assault rifle, which is really very inaccurate and difficult to use, and the bazooka, which I mentioned, and a flash grenade, which is very difficult to aim, but will stagger an enemy mobile suit. And yeah, I just did some boosting there, and the video glitched again, so we'll see how that goes. But yeah, that's pretty much a lot of the basics here. There's some other things that get covered in intermediate training, which I really want to go over at some point, but that'll have to wait until I see if intermediate training is salvageable. Yes, but yes, you can capture enemy mobile suits if you find one that is unprotected. You can walk up to it, hold circle for about 5 seconds, and you'll be in it. Here's the drawbacks. After 60 seconds, it explodes. If it explodes, you get the point. You get the points for it, but if you're in it, the enemy gets the points for you. Also, if you leave it empty, the enemy can spawn back in if they haven't yet and retake the mobile suit. I'm trying to think if there's anything else important to tell you about that, but those are the main things. Try not to get yourself killed by the enemy team while you're in the mobile suit. And from there, yeah, just if you can capture a mobile suit, great. Just keep a hold of it as long as you can and get ready to get out before the time runs out. But that is it for the beginner level of training. Intermediate training will come once I have had a chance to do something with that. But That's going to do it for now. I hope this was useful to everybody. If you have any questions, please let me know. And until next time, everybody take care and have fun. Later!